Welcome to the Transum Podcast, a monthly roundup of the new features on the transum.org website, providing mathematical puzzles, games, learning activities, and the ever-popular mathematics lesson starter of the day. Here's your host, John Tranter.
Hello and welcome to podcast number 82 for the month of September 2021. And as usual, we'll begin with the puzzle of the month. Think of all the sets of numbers that add up to 10. Which of them has the largest product? Okay, so think of the numbers that add up to 10 and decide which of them, when multiplied together, gives the largest answer. Okay, that's the puzzle of the month. The answer will be at the end of this podcast. And while you think about that, I'd like to tell you about some of the new resources that were added to the Transum website during this last month. Okay, if you like puzzles, you'll love similar parts and congruent parts. The second of these challenges is definitely the easier of the two. And in fact, I was encouraged to add clues to the former. They make a nice challenge for learners really of any age, from 8 to 80, regardless of whether they have formally learnt about similar and congruent shapes at school. The challenge is to fill the areas given, or the outlines as I call them, with a number of different shapes that are either similar or congruent, or both. Anyway, have a look at those. The links to all the things I'm about to talk about are in the newsletter. That's transum.org/newsletter. Now, since the last podcast, I've added a couple more schemes of learning to the curriculum page on the website. And again, thanks to White Rose Mathematics for permission to use their planning tools. And I hope these pages help you quickly find relevant resources that go with each of the objectives, or as they call them, small steps. So, I had a thought inspired by the notion of comparative judgment that it would be a worthwhile activity to compare two randomly paired statistical graphs and decide which one was better. Well, really, it was just a ruse to get learners discussing the features that make graphs misleading or very effective. Why don't you, as a knowledgeable maths teacher, give it a go at Compare Graphs? Remember, the link is in transum.org/newsletter. It's called Comparative Graphs, and the more people who do the activity, the more data the system will collect, and the more reliable the feedback becomes. Boxed-in fractions can now be played against the computer, if there isn't someone else willing nearby that will play the game with you, of course. Now, the computer doesn't play the perfect game, so there's a very good chance of you winning. If you play one of the higher levels, at the end of the game, you'll have to add up all the fractions that you've won, which can be quite a long calculation. So I recommend that as a calculator activity. Yeah, practice using the fractions button on the calculator to add together the fractions that you've won. Now there is a sister game to Boxed In Fractions, and it's called Boxed In Numbers. And this, same rules, but inside the boxes are positive and negative numbers rather than fractions.
You can find Transum Mathematics at www.transum.org.
The document, Mathematics Programmes of Study, Key Stages 1 and 2, published way back in 2013 by the UK's Department of Education, contained some examples of formal written methods for all four operations to illustrate the range of methods that could be taught. It went on to explain that the examples given are not intended to be an exhaustive list, so I know that there are lots of different ways of doing multiplication and division around the world. But anyway, based on this, the examples given in this document, a new Transum website visual aid, well, it is interactive as well. It marks your work as you go through it. are 3 pages called Column Method for Addition, Column Method for Multiplication, and Long Division. And basically, these calculations that sometimes the setting out can be quite difficult, well, the setting out has already been done for you, and you just have to fill in the gaps, so to speak. So it's not intended to be the only experience you have of doing these calculations. Obviously, pen and paper methods are essential, but at least if somebody's struggling, if they do a few of these where the calculation has been set out for them, it will give them a bit of a head start. The 21st of June starter has been improved to give the arithmetic more of a purpose, really. It is now called Cunning Code. There are 10 levels of difficulty, and you can choose by clicking one of the 10 buttons lower down the page to get a suitable level for your class. The drafts puzzle has been improved, but you have to scroll down the page to find the Try Puzzle button. Again, remember the links are in the newsletter here that I'm talking about. The Great Dodecahedron resource was, until recently, a static image, but now it's an interactive and very colourful resource, which a trophy is now available. If you haven't seen the Great Dodecahedron and started to investigate all the shapes that can be seen or imagined within it, have a look at that. It's quite interesting. Coming soon to a school near you is the new school year. Yes, most of the Transub subscribers live in the Northern Hemisphere, and so many of them will be going back to school for the new school year, possibly this week. So I thought it appropriate to remind you of the back to school resources. Everything from a customizable, projectable maths equipment list that you can get the students to talk about and write down in their books, the things that they should bring to every lesson, basically. It just makes it a little bit more visual than only talking about it. There's also a page that suggests how the pupils should set out the work in their maths exercise books, which of course you can customize and add your own comments to. And of course there are lots of good first lesson ideas that you may not have come across before. So have a look at that. Back to school. And please let me know if you have any other suggestions that I could add to that page. The latest help video to have been uploaded is all about map scales. It features a wide variety of different maps, from various maps of the world down to, there's one map that shows where the big stars live in Hollywood. And all these are used to talk about map scale. Have a look at that. Enjoy. And finally, the answer to this month's puzzle, the answer is 36. And if you're interested in how I arrived at that answer, if you go to the largest product page on the website and scroll down to the answer section, and then in the answer section, click on the link that's called View All Possible Ways to Split 10. And that shows you just how many ways there are of splitting 10 into a set of numbers, and it shows how you get the largest product. Now, there are lots of other similar puzzles splitting different numbers, the ways you could split 12 or 20 or 50. Have a look for a pattern, see if you can see a common theme going on there with the answers. So there are lots to keep you and your students occupied with the largest product puzzles. Have fun. Well, that is all for this month. If you're starting a new school year, all the best for that new school year. And if you're in the Southern Hemisphere and perhaps in the middle of a school year, good luck to you as well. Okay, I'll be back again next month. Bye.
Thank you for downloading and listening to the Transum podcast. You can find the website at www.transum.org, where you're welcome to use all of the activities absolutely free. or jump in with both feet and become a Transom subscriber.